In the previous video, we technically discussed the pedonation as a new green corpse treatment method. This video will explain why pedonation is better than all previously mentioned methods by discussing the 24 advantages of the technique. The pedonation method was developed to reasonably solve the 6 challenges that none of other practiced methods in the funeral industry could solve efficiently at once, as pedonation does. Challenges can be classified into 6 categories: services, cost, time, safety, environment, and ethics. Pedonation has ample technical applications and services. In a few words, it's how to recycle the unrecyclable organic material we need to dispose of. Services can comprise human corpses and be applied to dead pets or human post-surgery residues before disposal. It could be applicable to the processing and disposal of pandemic-infected animals. Pedonation is a cost-saving method because it saves capital, operating, and equipment costs. Consequently, it provides lower service prices. Since no fuel is used as in cremation, no chemicals as in aquamation, no liquid nitrogen as in cryonics or promission, or months of ventilation and temperature humidity control costs as in human recompose. Operating costs of pedonation are much lower, with only a few hours of electricity and inexpensive natural additives. Pedonators are not technically sophisticated. This lowers pedonator fabrication costs and maintenance. The main difference between the design of pet pedonators and the human pedonators is size, instrumentation, and security control. Pedonation is a time-saving method for quick product long shelf storage life, rapid post-burial decomposition, and easy logistics. Process time in pedonation takes almost 3 hours per 100 kilograms. It's similar to the time needed to cremate or aquamate a body of the same size. However, the processing time in the recompose method is 3 months instead of 3 hours. With pedonation, the pedonate has a long shelf life in storage and can be held for years, or even decades, in dry conditions as ancient Egyptian mummies still do, because it's a dehydrated, odorless, sterile organic material. In contrast, it has a rapid decomposition rate after burial. Only a few weeks are enough to transform the pedonate into soil. Unlike traditional burial, bones stay in place for centuries. Relocating a coffin with a dead body is complicated logistically, technically, and legally. It's not true with pedonated materials. Let's imagine a problem case that pedonation can solve. Suppose an Argentinian older man wanted to be buried where he was born in Italy. However, his family cannot afford his wishes because he passed away on a trip to neighboring Chile. With pedonation, it's technically possible for the family to pedonate the deceased person's body in Chile and then transport the pedonate to Argentina. 10 years later, the pedonate can be relocated to Italy for burial. It's technically possible to safely retain the pedonate for 10 years in the family house in Argentina. Pedonation goes well with safety. The operator of the pedonator is not subjected to hazardous conditions or materials as operators of other disposal methods could be, such as high temperature, fire, flammable material, toxic gases, corrosive alkali chemicals, or asphyxiation caused by liquid nitrogen. Unlike synthetic chemical fertilizers, the pedonate is a safe, natural, organic, nutrient slow-release fertilizer. It doesn't have the risk of water and soil contamination as synthetic chemical fertilizers do when they are over-applied. The pedonate is a sterilized, odorless product with zero bacterial or fungal activities. It will never be a risk to public health when stored correctly in dry conditions. Forensically, the only way to confirm the identity of a pedonated human is by DNA tests of the pedonated remains. Pedonators are designed to be under complete authority control to avoid any criminal purposes. All processes are filmed, registered, and saved. Pedonation is an entirely green process. It's the most important thing about it. With pedonation, the negative environmental impact of cremation is cancelled. The estimated carbon emissions from a single cremation can range from 150 to 450 kilograms of carbon dioxide in almost 3 hours, depending on various factors. Cremation releases greenhouse gas emission and air pollutants like carbon dioxide, mercury, and other particles into the atmosphere, potentially contributing to air quality issues and climate change. Ashes cannot be recycled and used as soil to plant trees. The high pH of ashes can help in soap fabrication. In contrast, ashes do not allow plant roots to take micronutrients from the soil. All businesses that talk about using cremated ashes to plant trees are misleading marketing fraud. Plants take their carbon needs from the air by photosynthesis, not by roots. Traditional burial has a negative environmental impact. Embalming fluids used to preserve body often contain harmful chemicals such as formaldehyde. These chemicals can leach into the soil and groundwater, potentially contaminating nearby ecosystem and water sources. The decomposition of bodies in sealed caskets can produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Traditional caskets are often made of metal, hardwood, or other materials that take a long time to decompose, contributing to landfill waste. Moreover, maintaining cemeteries require resources like water for irrigation and energy for maintenance, which can have ecological impact. To cancel a negative environmental impact means moving from a negative value to zero. What about adding a positive value to the zero? It's the second objective of pedonation after canceling the negative impact. It's possible by planting a tree using the pedonate as a biofertilizer. A healthy average fully grown tree can absorb about 22 kilograms of carbon dioxide annually. This value can vary widely depending on the specific tree species and its growth rate. Traditional burial requires dedicated land for cemeteries. This can lead to urban sprawl, loss of green spaces, and potential conflict over land use. In densely populated, traditional cemeteries may lead to land scarcity for other uses such as agriculture, housing, or parks. Replacing gravestone cemeteries with tree cemeteries could be a practical solution in urban expansion management. The pit depth required for pedonate burial is only 2 feet under, not 6 as in traditional burial. A second positive environmental impact could be added with an idea called deep eco burial. It refers to the pedonate burial in a specific memorial natural reserve with a unique habitat to be planted only with specific endangered tree species. This could have a double positive environmental impact. Losing a dear one is not easy. One of the most beautiful and emotionally moving things that pedonation can give a family in sorrow is the opportunity to see their deceased person or pet in a new form of life. Imagine the body's nitrogen of muscles, phosphate of bones, or iron in blood transformed into twigs, leaves, and flowers of a fully grown, blossoming, lush green tree. Oak, fir, pine, olive, and redwood trees could live for centuries. This is beautiful, but is it ethical? I think yes. Ethics are psychological issues and highly relative. What's considered righteous in Norway could be rejected in Pakistan. What's expected in India could be weird in Brazil. Current British laws in force could condemn what was good in Victorian England. The question now, what's the most ethical method of corpse disposal in the 21st century? I think it's more ethical to be adaptable to the needs of the 21st century by saving cost, time, energy, and resources and avoiding pollution. It's far more ethical to plant 14 million trees annually rather than proceed with 10 million cremations and emit 4 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Only with pedonation, corpse soft and hard tissues are kept together. In contrast, after cremation, aquamation, and human recomposition, ground bones are left and then kept in an urn. In cremation, soft tissues go up by air in the form of smoke and soot. In comparison, they go down the drain as a solution in aquamation. In contrast, they are scattered later as compost in a forest after 3 months of a human recompose process. In a traditional burial, the decomposition of soft corpse tissue takes 3 weeks to several years, except for bones. Usually bones are exhumated in some cemeteries to receive more burial cases. This is why we claim that pedonation is the most ethical method of dealing with corpses. However, being beautiful and ethical from a modern perspective doesn't mean that it becomes legal. Since early human existence, every culture has developed its corpse disposal method and believes it's the most ethical method possible. Cremation in Judaism and Islam is banned, while burial in Hinduism and Sikhism is forbidden. In Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the concept of being from dust then back to dust is mentioned in the Bible and Quran. Christian Orthodox churches do not recommend cremation. The Catholic Church has allowed cremation after decades of theological discussions. According to the Vatican's doctrinal office, cremated remains should be kept in a sacred place such as a church cemetery. Ashes shouldn't be divided between family members. The pedonation method can abide by the rules and conditions of the Catholic Church. Since cremation is more practiced than burial in Buddhist and Hindu communities, pedonation could be more accepted and less debatable in South and East Asia. However, cremation is strictly forbidden in Judaism and Islam. As a result, pedonation is not a topic of discussion in the Islamic world or Israel. Despite the strict and rigid religious rules of corpse disposal, secular laws can permit what's not compatible with religious traditions. New methods always be legalized before being practiced in the funeral market. Minnesota was the first state to legalize aquamation for humans in 2003. Washington State became the first state to legalize a human composting in 2020. Pedonation was registered and patented in May 2023. However, it's still little known and only permitted for pets in Chile. This video discussed the 24 advantages of the pedonation technique as a new green corpse treatment method. The following video will discuss the opportunities and benefits of the pedonation method globally.